Hello everyone, this is Matt from Real World Review, and today we're going to replace the back camera glass on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. This will also work for the iPhone 11 Pro. So the tools we're going to need are going to be a P2 driver, a Y000 bit, a pick of some sort, a razor blade, and some heat. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the screen. So we're going to grab the P2 driver, remove those bottom two screws, and we're going to carefully lift up the screen with a razor blade and cut through the adhesive with a plastic pick. You want to just cut through the thin layer of adhesive on the edge. You don't want to go too far or else you could damage the display or the cables itself. So we're just going to cut through the adhesive on the bottom, cut through it on the right side and then the left side. Then we're going to carefully lift it up so then we can cut through the adhesive on the top side. If you want to add some heat, I highly recommend doing that. Just make sure not to add too much heat. Once the screen feels loose, we can lift it up over to the right like this and set it down. Then we're going to grab the Y000 bit, remove these two screws right here as well as that panel, unplug the battery. Then we're going to remove these 6 screws as well right here, remove that panel. Then we can unplug these cables and separate the screen from the phone. With that same screwdriver, we're going to remove these 4 screws right here, remove this little metal panel right here, and then remove the camera cover right here. Then we're going to unplug the 3 cameras and carefully lift it up like this. You want to make sure all the lenses look clean, and if they don't, you want to use compressed air to get rid of the dust. You can use a Q-tip, but I would be very careful with that because you want to make sure there's no glass on that, or you could just end up scratching that camera glass. Once it looks nice, we can set it down, facing down. You want to make sure it's facing down so no dust gets stuck onto there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to heat up whichever camera lens needs to be replaced. If you need to do all of them, you're just going to do one at a time like this. But focus on heating up the camera lens like this. I would recommend 5 to 10 seconds, somewhere around there. And then you should be able to just pick out the camera glass. In this case, it kind of just fell off, so that was pretty good. Sometimes you need to use a razor blade. Other times it's just very easy to fall off like it is now. And then pretty much what we're going to do is use that razor blade to kind of clean up the area. Make sure there's no excess glue or anything like that. We want to make sure this area is flat so then when we put the new camera glass, it doesn't crack really easily. So carefully clean that up. I recommend using a razor blade, but you want to make sure because there is metal around there, you want to make sure you don't damage that. And once it looks clean like this, you're ready for the new camera glass. So if you get a 3-pack or a 2-pack in a sense, like what I did, you want to make sure you know which camera glass is going to go there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the adhesive. We're going to take this piece off. We're going to set it back in place. You want to make sure it's lined up properly and it's set down properly as well. And once it feels flat, you can lift up the cover so you expose all the adhesive. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these camera lenses. It's funny, this one's actually broken. And we're going to grab one of them. We're going to clean it up, make sure it looks nice. Obviously, don't crack this one. Then we're going to notice that one side is glossy and one side is matte. And we want to set the matte part down just like this. You want to line it up, push down on it. Don't add too much pressure, but you can just push down and it should just sit in place. And then now you're pretty much done. So you want to clean up that area with compressed air. Make sure there's no dust or anything like that in there. And also make sure there's no dust or anything like that on the camera lenses and just set it back into the phone. And as you can see, no camera dust, so we can start putting the phone back together. We can plug in these cables, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to test it to make sure that the cameras do look good. 2 things we want to do is we want to test to make sure they look nice. Obviously, you want to make sure there's no dots or anything like that in the camera. And then you want to make sure the 1x and the 2x will focus. Obviously, the ultra wide doesn't focus, but as long as they focus, you're pretty much good. So we're going to go back, unplug that battery, unplug the screen, set this little camera piece back in place, as well as those 2 screws. Set the little cable cover in place, as well as putting in those 2 screws. Then we can plug in all the cables for the screen, put that little metal panel back on, as well as those 6 screws. Then finally plug in the battery and put that other metal panel on, as well as those 2 screws. Now, I recommend replacing the adhesive anytime you open up the phone, but in this situation, I did a really good job. Also, water resistance is pretty much gone once you break anything on the phone that's glass. So that's not really a priority for me, But either way, I'm going to heat up the area so then the screen will fit nicely. And we're just going to set that back in place, make sure everything is flat. Then we're going to grab the P2 driver and put the bottom 2 screws in. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section or message me on Twitter. I get bored over there. And feel free to follow me on the social media listed above, subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos like this, as well as some review videos, and hit that bell button so then YouTube reminds you when those videos do come out. Thanks for watching.